Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Welcome to ABC4 News at 10. I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here tonight. It's only the beginning. That's what we're hearing from people across the state as we prepare for more potential flooding. Salt Lake County currently in a state of emergency after spring runoff hit several areas. That includes Red Butte Creek, City Creek, Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon, or Little Cottonwood Creek, I should say, Mill Creek, and Immigration Creek. Now that's where we find ABC4's Courtney Johns, who joins us live with the latest conditions there. Courtney?
Yeah, I'm standing on 1700 South, which is closed right now because of that flooding. And you can see some trucks behind me. They're with Public Works, and essentially they're standing guard right now to make sure people don't get too close to those rushing floodwaters. And we have seen several people walk through this area to look at that. And what we keep hearing people say over and over again is talking about what happened in 1983, talking about those historic floods and what they remember most about it.
Get up in the morning and see that the stream had changed course and gone through the fairway, took big pine trees out. It ate at the bottom of our hill. We end up putting 150 loads of fill in and then pushing with cats over the back of the hill. So I hope that doesn't happen again.
This season does have some similarities. Record snowfall and warm temps. But in '83, it happened at the end of May when the temperatures hit the 90s. 40 years ago, we used 1 million sandbags. Now Governor Cox says 1.4 million bags are already out in communities in need. Infrastructure is also better. We have a more robust stormwater system, debris basins, and more reservoirs. We talked to Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson, whose father was the mayor of Salt Lake City in 1983. She says he oversaw the State Street River and talks about the flooding all the time.
But I've always remembered, that emotion and commitment that he felt to the community, and also how he was and continues to be so proud. And it is emotional for me to just experience that at some level, just seeing the response last night.
And that's something that really hasn't changed. People in Utah are still incredibly amazing, so helpful in this situation. And you know how we mentioned Governor Cox saying 1.4 million sandbags already out in the community? Well, here's some more right here. This was dropped off earlier this evening. Public Works says some volunteers brought it out here in case they needed more. There is even more sandbags on the other side of this area that they've dropped off as well to help in case those flood waters continue to rise. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Courtney Johns, ABC4 News.
Thanks so much, Courtney. Now more on that state of emergency declared by Mayor Wilson and exactly what it does.
Yeah, so it will allow the county to address the current flood conditions, including deploying emergency response teams, increasing staffing levels, and using special equipment to protect the people and property of the county. It will also allow the use of additional resources from the state and federal government to help with areas impacted.
Turning now to a first look at the weather forecast, and it's not just rising waters in northern Utah. They're seeing that in southern Utah as well.
Yes, forecaster Bob Bedore in for Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy tonight with the very latest. Bob.
Yeah, it's like you said, Glenn, it's not just northern Utah. Of course, we're concentrating on that because we're seeing that quite a bit, but it's happening everywhere. In fact, Judy Keel sent us this video of what's going on in Kanab Creek. You can see that water is flowing very quickly there and flowing there into the creek. You can see it starting to go already just a bit outside the norms of where it would normally go. That's what we've got going on. And in southeastern Utah, well, we've got this. We've got a flood warning, going on right now. This is Dolores River. It flows into the Colorado River, and that has got a flood watch going on, a flood warning going on until noon. So we have got flooding all over the state. How did this happen? Well, it's this warming trend. This is how it looked in the Wasatch Front. You can see Saturday we were actually a little above normal, but then Sunday a little more, Monday a little more. Look at that, a record on Tuesday. Wednesday still very high. We were well above our normal. That warm, that quick caused the problems. And the high temperatures that we had yesterday, this is the good news. We had those high temperatures, but look what happened today with our high temperatures today. We dropped down quite a bit, 53 in Salt Lake. So that's the good news. We roller coastered our way down. Unfortunately, boom, roller coasters do what? They go back up so they can go down again. By Sunday, Monday, we are going to be back into those above normal temperatures, and that's where we're going to be seeing the problem. That's where we've got this big drop. You see that our snow water equivalent dropped nearly 3 inches in just 3 days. That's the kind of thing we're going to be keeping an eye on. I'll tell you what you can expect coming up in this next roller coaster ride, and my full forecast in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, Bob, well, stay tuned. Well, organization Be Ready Utah holding a shake, rattle, and sandbag virtual meeting tonight following the recent flooding. Be Ready Utah was formed to help Utah be ready for emergencies and disasters, saying that if something happens, it's up to each one of us to keep ourselves and families safe. FEMA and the state of Utah simply don't have the resources to jump in and help at all times.
There's about one emergency responder to every 1,000 residents in Utah on average. So what does that mean? That means that for every fireman, rescue, EMT, law enforcement, all the way to animal control, there's only one of those for every 1,000 people.
Brian Stinson with Be Ready Utah continuing to say there's not enough of them to go around, emphasizing that we must empower one another and be self-reliant. So for more information on what you can do to keep your family safe, you can go ahead and visit the website you see right there at the bottom of your screen.
Governor Spencer Cox telling the public he's proud of the way Utahns are responding to the flooding so far, holding a press conference today with experts from all over the state to give an update on the flood response efforts. They say they've been preparing for this for months now before any snowstorms this year. He says the state got $5 million for flood mitigation funding from the legislature. And just as important is a community coming together in time of need.
What we have in place is working. What happened in Immigration Canyon yesterday, that's the plan. That actually worked. 200 people showed up at 9 o'clock at night to fill sandbags.
Aside from flooding, another concern the governor warns of, mudslides. He says those traveling through our canyons should be extra careful. All right, as the snow continues to melt, we will stay on top of this story, tracking which areas are flooding and being evacuated. So make sure to stick with us right here on ABC4 News.
And in a traffic alert tonight, after being closed due to avalanches, Little Cottonwood Canyon is now reopened with no expectation to close at this point. UDOT thanking the travel crews who've worked so hard to get SR 210 back open. And a local gymnastics coach arrested on child exploitation. A federal grand jury in Salt Lake City returning an indictment. Now, agents with Homeland Security arrested 33-year-old Adam Richard Jacobs of Woods Cross after an employee found hidden cameras in USA Gymnastics World, which Jacobs is the owner of. They say they found files of people ranging in age from toddler to adult using the restroom, saying he had cameras set up at the gym and his home. Jacobs now charged with transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, production of child pornography, and possession of child pornography. His first court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. in Salt Lake City.
The new location of Raising Cane's in Midvale hosting a ribbon-cutting ceremony with rapper Post Malone today. This debuting the partnership between the artist and the restaurant with the official grand opening. Post Malone personally designing the art on the building. Raising Cane's founder Todd Graves also participating in the ceremony, speaking to a crowd that had fans of both the chicken and the rapper.
I got a picture with him. That's all I came here for. I love Raising Cane's. Great food.
Post Malone. He's got great music.
I love Post Malone.
The restaurant will have unique features from the singer. Outfits worn by him will be displayed on the walls, as well as personal guitars. They'll be framed and hung in the restaurant.
All right, what a fun twist. Well, also new at 10, the principal of Twin Peaks Elementary School sleeping on the roof overnight tonight after students beat their fundraising goal. So here's the story. The school challenged their students to fundraise a fundraising penny war, where students in each grade collected loose change throughout March to raise funds in partnership with the school PTA for a community event to celebrate the legacy of Twin Peaks Elementary. Well, students were able to crush their fundraising goal of $2,000 and raise more than $3,000 for the community celebration, which of course will honor the legacy of Twin Peaks and the impact it's had on the community for more than 50 years before they closed their doors for good. Well, Principal Rachel Lowry, who you're seeing here, agreeing to sleep on the roof if the kids beat their goal, and they sure did.
I didn't think they had a chance, so I said, sure, I'll sleep on the roof. But you know, those kids for 2 weeks, they brought in their tooth fairy money, their birthday money, their loose change, and at the end of the fundraiser, they raised $3,000. They blew their goal out of the water. So true to my word, I'm sleeping on the roof tonight.
Oh, way to go. Okay, well, it is a bit chilly out there, but the principal saying she will have a few teachers joining her, continuing to say that thanks to REI, they have a great setup, including a tent, some sleeping bags, a camp stove, and they plan to be drinking some hot cocoa and even popping some popcorn. The students returning tomorrow morning to see how it all went.
Coming up, a stunning report out on the Pentagon's secret document leak. A member of the Massachusetts National Air Guard arrested and in custody tonight.
And a live look at the Red Cliffs Lodge there in Moab. It is cloudy. There's a good chance some more rain's coming, 58 degrees. What's coming up for your Friday and your weekend? Well, I'll tell you all of that in Utah's most accurate forecast coming up right after this.